What's up guys, Houndish here, and today we're jumping in with some content updates and things to keep in mind in this very final week before the launch of the final shape. So we'll be going into a bit more depth in relation to some of the seasonal content, some of the key beats for the reset this week, as well as content which is going away and final opportunities to pick up certain pieces of gear, but also we'll talk about the content vault, updates from Bungie for this week's reset, the final Archie quest, which this week will take place on Neomuna, and we've got a few other things to mention in the video today as well. So as always guys, I hope you enjoyed this one and find it useful, but without further delay, let's get into it. And initially we've got the perfect thing to get the juices flowing for the start of a new week, and the hype train for the final shape itself continues because today we're getting the launch trailer for the expansion. So this will be dropping May 28th at 8 AM PDT, that's 4 PM in the UK, and Bungie provides some artwork right here for the launch trailer itself, which is pretty cool. And typically launch trailers are one of the final things we get before the expansion actually drops. Of course, we've had plenty of different reveals. This one will show some other dimensions of the final shape expansion itself, so it's going to be pretty juicy. As always, I'll keep you posted on it and let us know if that's one you're looking forward to as well. Otherwise though, one of the first things we should mention is in relation to Into the Light content in this final week, but Bungie have said starting on May 28th, we'll be doubling the drop rates of limited edition versions of Brave weapons, so those are the shiny versions. And it's worth remembering as well that Bungie have increased the weapon drop rates and token drops in general, so the shiny versions are dropping at a higher rate as well this week. So if there are any shiny weapons you want to try and pick up with random rolls, definitely this is going to be a good week to put some time in. Something else in relation to Into the Light content, but Bungie have also said that they've reduced the Brave titles requirements from 10 to 9, so instead of needing all 10 triumphs, we just need 9 of them now. So considering this title will no longer be earnable after this week, if you do want to try and pick it up, we do have a final week to do so, and between some of the loot buffs and the reduction in the amount of triumphs required, that certainly will be an easier one to get now, so keep that in mind. Otherwise, in this final week of the season, across Crucible, Vanguard, and Gambit playlists, we do have bonus reputation all week long, so that's a really useful one if you're trying to finish up leveling up any vendors or anything like that. Another thing to keep in mind, but legendary shards are of course going away after this week, so Bungie point out if you've got any left in your inventory, it's certainly worth spending them right now, otherwise they will simply disappear. So of course you can buy raid banners or exchange them at Reroll. It's worth grabbing materials or anything that you can with them while they're still available, so keep that in mind, and otherwise all of the content from this year's seasons will be moving around. Much of it is going into the Destiny content vault, especially activity stuff, but we'll also see limited availability on this year's rewards, so bear in mind those things will go away too. I will link a full list for the content vault down below, but in the case of red border weapons from this year's seasons, we do still have a daily buff which guarantees us a drop of a red border, so those can be earned in seasonal activities. But moving on, we do have the very final week of Pantheon. We're not getting a new Pantheon challenge this reset, but all of the existing challenges will remain available for the duration of this week, and then they'll be going away, so that means the Godslayer title will no longer be earnable. And we also won't be able to pick up things like the unique emblems for each of the encounter clears. So Bungie clarified Pantheon will remain active until Into the Light ends on June 3rd. But another thing to bear in mind is that on June 3rd, 24 hours of downtime will begin before the final shape drops. So from the daily reset time up until daily reset on June 4th, when Final Shape will become live, the game is going to be offline for a 24-hour period, so we can pretty much count out the majority of Monday immediately before the expansion drops. Although in relation to Pantheon, Bungie have said, due to issues with the previous week's Twitch drop for Pantheon Creator Challenge not properly awarding the Bully Bullpit emblem, they will be offering both the Bully Bullpit and the Silicon Frontier emblems during next week's streams, which will be happening today at 10 AM Pacific, so if you're interested in those emblems, they'll still be available for the moment, and otherwise, in relation to the Season of the Wish finale, that will still be available to play if you didn't sign in last week and you want to experience it in-game. So I think that covers the majority of content for this week, although one last mention is that we will get a very final Where is Archie quest, and this time around it will take place on Neomuna. The first thing though will of course be to go to the Annex and speak to Ada 1, and then we'll need to visit Nimbus on Neomuna to ask about Archie's whereabouts. The next step will require us to stop by Nimbus's post, hoping to snag an action figure. And of course, Nimbus's post is immediately beneath Nimbus in the area down below, where we can head into the little room that we stashed all the action figures. So we're going to find Archie somewhere around there. And the next step is that Archie wanted to get caught up on everything that we know about the Veil. Presumably, this will be in the area close to where we go to Veil Containment. And so we'll need to start out in Zephyr Concourse. And on the right hand side of Zephyr Concourse, there is a series of steps with a sort of entrance right here. So we need to continue through this area and head in the direction towards the Essie Terminal. And ultimately we'll get to the Akala Complex, which is the area where Veil Containment is actually hidden. We can't access Veil Containment itself on patrol, but the assumption is that we'll find Archie in this zone. Given that this is one of the harder areas to find though, I will run gameplay of how to get to this location at the end of the video. Once we've been here though, Archie wanted to check out views from where Guardians mastered Strand. So to do this, we need to head to Liming Harbour. And on the right hand side, very close to where we actually spawn in, there's a little cave that takes us off toward a different wing of Neomuna. And ultimately we find ourselves in Mayor's Retreat. We basically need to continue all the way through this zone, up to the stairs at the top, and then through the big cave, and ultimately we'll find the area that we actually did the kind of Strand training in the Lightfall campaign. And somewhere in this zone is where we'll find Archie. But then the last stop is where Archie wanted to win a prize for us, and presumably this will be in the Thrillerdrome arcade lost sector, which is also in Liming Harbour. So if we fast travel back to Liming Harbour, head toward the lost sector, it might be that it's near the entrance to the lost sector or somewhere in the middle of it, we just don't know yet, but Thrillerdrome will ultimately be that final stop where we'll find Archie. So it'll be interesting to see what kind of an encounter we get there, and of course the final stop will be to head to Ada 1 and the annex of the tower. But I will run the location where we can find the Veil area to conclude the video right here. For today though guys, that's what we have to speak about, but I will be keeping you posted with more updates from Bungie. No doubt there'll be a few more reveals and bits throughout the week, so keep it locked and loaded here on the channel, and if you've enjoyed the video today, a rating really does help us out down below. Plus, be sure to get subscribed and I can keep you posted with more Destiny content. But otherwise, I appreciate you tuning in, and I hope you guys have an awesome day.